Well, what we're going to do is allow butchers in abattoirs and meat processors dealing with pigs to be able to come in on a temporary basis under the seasonal workers scheme for up to 6 months, and that will help us to deal with the backlogs of pigs that we currently have on farm, give those meat processors the ability to slaughter more pigs, and crucially as well, we're going to make available what's called private storage aid to help those abattoirs to temporarily store that meat in order to help clear this backlog before they can release it to market.
Let's get more with our chief political correspondent, John Craig. And John, I suppose the question is, will this do the job? Will it help, avoid these culls?
Well, Mr Eustace was only talking about 800 people coming over under this temporary visa scheme, which doesn't sound that many when you think, for example, that when it came to temporary visas for poultry workers, it was 5,500, and for HGV drivers, 5,000. 6 months, well, OK, that's perhaps longer than perhaps we imagined. But crucially, what the government has rejected is the call for relaxing the rules on people coming over having good English. That was one thing that was being demanded. The English language requirement for meat processing workers was being called for by the industry. Mr Eustace says they've rejected that. Now, that scheme he's just mentioned, the private storage aid, basically, that provides some funding for farmers for slaughtered pigs to be held in private cold stores. And that was something that the industry was calling for in a meeting with Sir Dave Lewis. Now, he is the former Tesco boss who is now the government's supply chain czar, if you like. And so they will be pleased about that. So clearly the government has moved and given the industry some of the things that they wanted, but not the English language relaxation. So there will be claims, no doubt, that the visas will take time to process. There will probably be complaints this is all too slow, that it should have been done earlier. Mr Eustace was talking about how, in fact, they had been talking to the industry for some time. So he's made his decision now. There will be those who say that it's not enough, but he has bowed to some of the pressure, and perhaps the slaughter of 150,000 pigs are being destroyed and in some cases incinerated, perhaps in a rather cruel way, that the government will hope has been avoided, and the government will hope that perhaps this is one problem in the supply chain crisis that perhaps they have found at least a partial solution to.